All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, it's Anchorman here, back with another episode of Multiverse Podcast, episode 30. And Famous taking a bye week, spend time with his family, do what we're supposed to be doing instead of sitting here talking about video games. But we have a really cool cast tonight. Let's go start with people you know. My other co-host, Nick, a.k.a. Undead.
How's it going today, everybody? Glad to be on the Multiverse as per usual, and the best podcast on a Monday.
All right, and we also got our other co-host of sports, James.
Oh, I've been upgraded to co-host. That's fun.
Yeah, we'll let it go. Our honorary co-host.
Yeah, I'm always honorary because I'm British. Yes, it's great to be back. Thank you very much. Welcome to the episode where none of us talk about The Walking Dead. Oh, no, damn.
Yeah, we talk about The Walking Dead, but we rarely talk about it anyway. So, I mean, spoiler, everyone dies.
They should have.
Yeah. And also we have our other regular who shows up on occasion when we need him. The hero we don't deserve, but the hero we need, Jez.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Jez7780 on Twitter. I'm happy to be here as a special guest referee.
All right, guys. We got a lot of really great topics to talk about. But first of all, let's talk about Titanfall 2 because we can. All right, but first,
well, that's
real
not
quick,
a good reason to talk about something.
Yeah. Real quick, virtual showing of hands. Who here is getting Titanfall 2?
Here. Jez is getting it.
All right.
Well, you might as well just clock me up for Friday then. I might as well just hop on the train now.
It's that easy.
Nope,
all right.
Absolutely not.
No, why not?
I just don't like shooters that much anymore.
Ooh.
You don't like shooters?
Anymore.
Well, maybe if we watch this trailer right now, maybe that'll change your mind. 1 second, please. Let me flip this over. All right. And we'll just mute this real quick. This is the new trailer that came out today. I was thoroughly impressed.
Bang, bang, they shot them down. Bang, bang, they hit the ground. Bang, bang, they torched the rest. Bang, bang, we laid this from the train.
You guys hearing everything?
I hear it.
Bang, bang, their kill counts rise. Bang, bang, their enemies die. Bang, bang, they hit the ground. Bang, bang, here's the rocket sound.
Damn, it's good.
Bang, bang, two legends, one legacy. Bang, bang, surrounded by enemies. Bang, bang, go ahead and cry. Bang, bang, you're all about to die.
How badass was that?
Yeah, but like, what is the game?
What is the game? Where have you been, man?
Like that trailer's cool, but like, what is it?
All right.
Yeah,
So
I know what you're getting at. It's like, yeah, like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, is this a gameplay trailer? So like, tell the story through the gameplay. But it was pretty cool, like the song and stuff like that. It definitely emotional.
Yes, the song, for those wondering, is a redone version of "Bang Bang, My Baby Shut Me Down." Most of you will know it from the first Kill Bill. Originally sung by Nancy Sinatra, this version sung by Grace, and the song is called "Bang Bang, My Titan Shut Me Down."
all right, and that's great. I mean, this is information I like to know. But yeah,
you should know that it's in the
Titanfall-
YouTube description. That's
Who
how I
reads
know it.
Let's really do research for a minute.
Who reads anymore?
Yeah, man, Titanfall is such a weird game because the first game was pretty much just gameplay. The gameplay carried the game from E3 to at least 6 months after launch, and it was just a damn good game. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. The problem it had was content, and this game is supposed to offer an actual story, which the first one kind of lacked. Like there is a story there, but it's very minuscule, and you're not really the star of the story so much as you are just a person in the background, like an excuse. Like you watch the game in terms of cutscenes, and it's not very satisfying to some in terms of campaign. But I think this game really is gonna amp everything up to 11.
Yeah, I
And
think it's. Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead.
I think like some of the reviews was saying about how it's a pretty good balance in the story of like the on foot versus the Titan action. However, and there's kind of like a boss fight structure in it. And they said that with the Titan, the only thing is like a little lacking is when the Titans meet each other, like you fight another Titan. But it was pretty cool. They said where like an enemy would jump away and then they could call in their own Titan. So it's kind of dynamic in that aspect. Like they'll call a Titan in, and then that changes the dynamic of it. But they said the balance is good there, like for the abilities that you do, which sounds very interesting. At least it's not just chaos, just running around shooting everything. It seems like there's some like slow sections as well, and you use a lot of your mobility.
Mm-hmm. Giving just a brief thing, like just looking at Metacritic, and just to give you an idea of how critically it's scoring. Its average is around 88 Metascore, but not everyone's done a review on it just yet. IGN is holding out, as they normally do with a lot of these big games. They wait until after release to see how the servers hold up. So I mean, like, just to give you an idea, like the lowest score they have is an 80, which is pretty decent. Everyone else, I mean, GameSpot's giving it a 90, Games Radar's giving it a 90, Digital Spy 90, Game Informer gave it a 95.
Who's reviewing it out of our slot?
Out of where?
Who's reviewing it for us?
I don't know off the top of my head. I think someone is. I don't really keep up to date.
I don't know about that GameSpot review. If it's not the same person that reviewed Gears of War, I hope not.
I don't know.
They said that the story in Titanfall is about a 4-hour, 5-hour story, and they're like, I don't know, like the Gears of War story is pretty, the character development is pretty good. I don't know how the development is in Titanfall.
Chances are it's not the same person.
It's probably not, because they give that a 7 in Gears. But the thing is like it's gonna be a bit of a challenge, and I think they from what I've read, it looks like that they did take a right way and made the Titan kind of its own like iconic character, since it's iconic to Titanfall. And I think by doing that, they're not putting a face to the franchise. They're really making the Titan sort of like the kind of like the thing that you come for, like the iconic figure that is going to be representative of Titanfall. So I do think that they did something good with the campaign, that it's focused on the Titan and this pilot's relationship with the Titan, which and also the enemy, which that we fought in the first one. We didn't even know what the hell was going on.
Yeah. I mean, like, I understand what was going on, but that's namely because I've poured myself over what lore there is. I mean, I felt more desperate than a Destiny Year 1 player looking for story. It was really rough coming together with this stuff. And then later this week, I plan to do an episode of Top Shelf, which is a shorter video talking about whatever topic I feel like talking about that week. And this one, I'm going to focus entirely on Titanfall 2, and I'm going to be talking about a lot of different aspects of the game, which I think are interesting. But as a sneak preview, I think this is as a bigger thing. We actually had the Call of Duty beta came out this weekend, at least for Xbox. I think PlayStation had it a week before.
No, we had it this weekend as well.
I know you had it. I know you had it this weekend too, but I think you guys had earlier access, like as of last week as well.
The pre-order people did.
Oh, just the pre-order people. Oh, I didn't know what the difference was. But anyway, the interesting part is that this is an interesting game in terms of who it's clashing against, because Infinity Ward, this, from everything I'm seeing, it's probably the weakest Call of Duty we've had in a long time. And this one, I wouldn't say be the game to kill COD as much as it would be the weakest in the running line of Call of Duties. And I think Activision knows this, because they're bundling in Modern Warfare Remastered, the game everyone wants.
It's just that they could care less about Infinite. They just care about the remaster, and they're putting it behind that paywall. So obviously, and Infinite seems like a cut and paste from Black Ops, except there's some space levels in it and anti-gravity.
Yeah,
that's about it.
And I mean, when you tag all that stuff together, and you come to realize that Infinity Ward is going up against Respawn in the same season with two shooters, one after another, and they're directly competing against each other. Finally, it's kind of interesting. I really want to see Titanfall 2 kind of just take over, and just take that market back. Say, if you want the real Infinity Ward experience, it's over here.
I think didn't Zampella say something where like, oh, we have two stories coming from us this holiday or something like that, where he's referring to Modern Warfare and Titanfall.
Yeah,
like we have two campaigns coming from us because they did the campaign for that one. So I thought he said something back E3 time. Tweeted.
Well, see, the thing is Infinity Ward has squared off against Respawn before. The original Titanfall launched around the same time period as Call of Duty Ghosts, I believe.
But Titanfall released in the spring. Titanfall.
Well, no, it released in the spring against of 2014, and Ghost came out in 2013. And
was it the spring that Titanfall came out?
Yeah,
March.
Huh.
Yeah, and then later that year it was Sledgehammer.
Right.
With whatever warfare that game was again. I'm getting tired of everyone naming something warfare, like blank warfare, garden warfare, infinite warfare, advanced warfare.
Warfare. There's gonna be.
I feel like Titanfall 2 has the potential to have a really great campaign, because I know a lot of people are undersold on shooter campaigns. I've been overly disappointed in a lot of FPS campaigns over the years. But they have a lot of potential, because it is the original guys that were the creative minds behind like COD 4, which had some of the best missions in a shooter in a long time.
The best.
Like Illy's in the Mist is like the epitome of an amazingly done level, and I will always hold FPS games to that standard for, if I remember classic campaigns. If I can remember a level I played, God, it's got to be 5-6 years ago now. If I could still remember every detail of that mission, that's a well done. Yeah. That's a well done story. And if Titanfall 2 can even bring half of that, you got gold on your hands. And people complain about the length of the story is just a little ironic in my mind, because COD franchise hasn't really produced anything longer than a 6-hour campaign in years. So it's not really a viable complaint when the competition isn't doing it either. From my understanding, the Battlefield 1 campaign's obscenely short as well. So
yeah, it is short, but it's powerful. The storytelling in that, it really pulls you in.
Yeah, as long as the campaign is high quality stuff and it's not the only thing you have to offer, I think people can overlook a short campaign. Like, I mean, games like let's see, the one that comes to mind almost immediately is The Order 1886. Like, if that's all you're offering, and all you're offering is a single player game, that campaign better be pretty beefy, especially if you're asking for $60. That's my issue on it.
Well, that's kind of the thing, though, is like some game, like I feel like with some games they overly draw out the campaign unnecessarily. I would rather play an obscenely good, dynamic 8-hour campaign over a 20-hour grind fest where it's repetitive. The best game that should have ended sooner was Alien Isolation. That game was fantastic, but it should have ended a couple of chapters before, because by the end of the game, I was just like, can this game just end, please? And it ruined a completely amazing experience.
Yeah, I find that sometimes with the Halo series, like some of their missions that they have in Halo 5 and Halo 4, where it's like go to the left, and then you go to, it's like, in order to get past this bridge, we have to activate the key on the left and the one on the right, and then it's like, so you go to the left and you do that mission, then you come back and then you gotta go to the right one, and then like it's just kind of like when they just artificially kind of lengthen the game. Rather than like, they have to say you have to unlock two keys at the same time to make the bridge so you can progress. I know Halo does that a couple times and that extends it.
Yeah.
It's annoying. I huff and I puff when I see that. I'm like, oh, I'm like so predictable.
Mm. Yeah, I hate when games do that. But like I said before, as long as the campaign is high quality stuff, I can overlook a short one, as long as not just that, and it's not only what you're offering. So
Are there cutscenes in this one? Is that how they tell the story? Like it's cut? Is it a cutscene?
it's not the same kind of deal as was before. It wasn't like, oh, the cutscenes are playing while you're playing the match and you see whatever. No, it's a totally single player campaign.
Like a story, yeah.
It's like a real campaign this time.
Do you have any actors in it? Like any face?
I don't think they pulled
I
any
didn't
of
think so.
that Call of Duty style where you
Which
have
that's
to
all they've
hire
been
big
doing.
name dudes.
It's like, let's just grab random people and put their face in the game and say they're an enemy or you're fighting with them, and that's what Call of Duty's been doing.
Yeah, that's been.
No,
If you really think about
Lewis.
it, that's been the trend the last few Call of Duties. Oh,
Yeah.
like who's a big actor right now? Kevin Spacey's doing real big work with House of Cards. Get him in Call of Duty now. Like,
You know,
what's
you
the
guys know
biggest
who
show right
Lewis
now?
Hamilton
Game of
is?
Thrones. All right, get Kit Harington in here.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who Lewis Hamilton is?
I can't say I do.
The Formula One world champion,
Nope.
double world champion, triple world champion, actually. He's in the new COD.
Oh God, don't they have the that guy from UFC, Colin McGregor?
Conor McGregor.
Oh my
Conor
God.
McGregor. I'm sorry,
He's like
I
the
don't really
main
follow.
character.
Wait, that Conor McGregor. If I can't punch Conor McGregor in that Call
No,
of
I
Duty game,
think you play as Conor McGregor.
You
I think.
no, I'm not. No,
That's
no.
horrible.
The
It's
only thing the only thing I do is repeatedly toss myself over a cliff repeatedly. That's about the only thing I do in that game. Then.
Yeah, Harrington's the bad guy, and Lewis Hamilton, a driver, is in the new Call of Duty for some inexplicable reason.
Well, it's because we can only.
Find popular people. Insert in COD equals sales.
Well, I'm not even gonna lie. Advanced Warfare. I sat there. I was like, maybe I won't get. And then they're like, new dynamic campaign with Kevin Spacey. I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? Mistakes.
Yeah.
Those mistakes.
I will play Infinite Warfare's campaign. I will rent it from a friend and play the campaign, and that is all I will play of that game.
Well, for sure.
But there's nothing incentivizing me to get Titanfall at all. I don't know what it is.
That's depressing, son. That's very
If
depressing.
if somebody it's on PS4, if somebody says, "Here's my copy of the game, play the campaign, tell me what you think," I'll play it.
All right.
Yeah. But sometimes those games those are the campaigns that sneak up on you, like those type of games. And
Yeah, the ones you weren't expecting.
hopefully this does. Like, it's a surprise, but I don't know.
You know what?
That
I
game
love
is
being
multiple.
proved wrong in games. I love having something to go, "This is great." I love being surprised.
Yeah, like I thought nothing of the Battlefield. I was like, Battlefield campaign. I'm like, who cares? I don't even know what the hell it is. And then I played like first missions and stuff, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm in the movie Fury, like with this character and stuff like that. Like I feel like I'm in this kind of charging up the thing. And it's just because the game looks so incredible and the sound and everything is just so like immerses you in there, and you really think, for the brief war story that you're telling, like it really is pretty cool. Like, yeah, it's not lengthy going over this. Now you climbing up the mountain, now you're coming down, but it really, just it draws you into these little mini series stories. Kind of reminds me of like Band of Brothers or something like that, where they just tell like, a kind of like a person's back, like a war story. It was pretty creative. I thought they did a good job with it. It goes with the times as well. But I was surprised by that campaign, if that's what you call it. But hopefully Titanfall has something. But again, it's really the multiplayer, and I really hope they put a better balance and the one thing though that's disturbing about Titanfall from what I'm reading is like I don't think they have a big new multiplayer game mode, which I'm kind of upset about. I thought they could have something a little bit better than what they had just kind of from the first one.
Yeah.
I was looking at the game modes and really they show like a one-on-one pilot arena. I'm like, what the hell is that? What is Star Wars? Why don't you give them lightsabers? Like, I don't understand it. It's just like one-on-one pilot combat.
Yeah.
That's like
I mean, I
Coliseum.
understand that, and
Who does that?
the big thing right now is they're in a weird position where they have to introduce the game to a completely new audience who have never played anything like this. And I'm willing to admit that there's probably going to be some backtracking in terms of like they're not going to be jumping like full leaps and bounds ahead. And I know what they've said. So this is the big thing that sold me on it. Actually, there's probably a couple of big things. One of them being that they really did listen after the first weekend, and they changed a ton about the game that really sold me on it. And the other reason was there's no season pass.
Mhm.
All the content that comes out afterwards, like any weapons, any maps, any game modes, all free.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm like that sold me on it. I'm there.
Finally, a game without a season pass.
I mean, other games have done that, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't say as big as this. Like,
Yeah, but you know what? Part of the reason Titanfall is probably giving away the DLC for free is because no one stuck around on the original game till the first map pack. So,
Yeah.
and then they gave it all away for free in the long run anyway to try and entice people to play. Titanfall's biggest problem is that it did not retain players, and that's my biggest fear with this one. Is people will play it for a week or two and then move on because it doesn't see Titanfall. The original Titanfall did not have the sustained power that, say, Battlefield or Call of Duty had. So hopefully they hit the nail on the head with that.
yeah, I will say that's a problem, and that was mainly because they were lacking content. Like there was only one type of gun for each. Like
Well,
if you
yeah.
like being an assault rifle, there's one assault rifle, and that was and they when you would prestige, there was no reason to prestige because there were only a handful of weapons, and that was it. And that problem's been fixed, but we really got to move on because of time.
Yeah.
We've been on here for
Speaking of
20
a
minutes.
handful of weapons,
Scott and full weapons.
let's talk about Logan.
Yeah, let's talk about Logan for a minute. Moving into our more entertainment portion of the show, we all saw the trailer yesterday, last week, technically, for Logan, the first R-rated X-Men, not X-Men movie, Wolverine movie, which will actually, I believe, if
Yes.
I'm correct, is the
Unity.
last Hugh Jackman movie.
Well, he said that about Days of Future Past.
I know what they said. That was the last X-Men movie he would be in,
Which
but
is not
this
true.
is the last. This is the last time he will be Wolverine.
All right.
This is technically not.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
This
the
is
last
technically
X-Men
not an
movie
X-Men.
that he was in it will be Apocalypse. So
Yep.
anyway, Logan, it looks really good. The Last of Us.
yep.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's like, that's interesting aesthetic. I mean, it's a totally different move from the comics. I mean, the only thing that's really going for it is that he's old. Like that's the only real
I'm sorry. I do not
noticeable
want
thing. Maybe because it's like, oh well, the world's kind of post-apocalyptic, but
But
that's
not
it.
post-apocalypse. Very important distinction.
post-mutant apocalypse.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So I mean, what are you guys looking forward to? What stuck out about that trailer for you guys?
The song, honestly,
The Johnny Cash.
the Johnny
Hurt.
Cash version of Hurt.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a
I was
great
gonna
song.
say that all the trailers lately, like even with the Gears of War 4 trailer, all these trailers have some of the best music I've seen in a long time. They really sang the tone. I actually really want to go see this movie because of it. Like it seems like it's gonna be like really intense.
Yeah.
I think going R-rated with it may be a step in the right direction for this specific movie. Not all Marvel movies going forward, but this specific movie.
Yeah,
This one needs it.
I just I'd rather them go R-rated on an action Wolverine movie, not an old man escorting a girl movie. Like it looks like from the trailer, it looks like that he's kind of in denial. He doesn't use his claws. He's going to use them later on because he has to do it to save the little girl. And I think the R-rated I don't know. I don't think it's gonna hold its iron. Like when he's jumping off of trains and hooking onto helicopters and doing like the other Wolverine movies he did. That's what I want to see. This one just looks like old man Wolverine, and I don't know.
Well, the comic was called Old
You
Man
want
Logan.
to see X-Men Origins again?
I want to see action, man. I don't want to see this like sad Wolverine like limping around the woods.
Yeah.
You know what? I completely disagree. I think we haven't had a superhero film that doesn't have action in it. I would love a superhero film that's just a drama.
And then it's on Netflix. Watch those.
No, but there's action all the time in those.
Ah.
I would actually love a superhero film with no action. I think it'd be ballsy,
I think it
and I
depends on
think it would
who.
make all the money.
I think it depends on who it is because some.
Did you hear? Like, if you went to the Civil War and that scene was not in there, like it was a lot of talking
no
between
airport
superheroes.
scene.
Yeah, no airport scene. Like that airport scene, like made that movie.
Well, you couldn't do it with the big team, but like,
Like it's the thing.
I can't think of one right now, but it would be really good.
Like Jessica Jones probably would have worked. And there wasn't really that much in that, like at all, really.
Yeah,
A couple chase scenes.
yeah
I'm just, I understand. I just the superhero movies where they have the power and they're just kind of like depressed and they're reluctant to use it until something forces them to use it. I'm just sick of that trope. Like I want them to embrace their powers and just start wrecking hell and have a bigger enemy that's bigger than them that they have to use even better powers to kill that enemy.
And that is what the Thor Ragnarok's gonna be.
Yes, please bring that movie on.
Like no joke. Like I have been hearing so much stuff about that movie. Like they're literally going to another planet where they don't give a damn.
Exactly.
Everything.
Exactly. That's what we need.
The planet is called Ragnarok. It's in constant war. It's they basically said it's a Planet Hulk movie with a little bit of Thor in it.
Yes. Please.
It's like wow.
I'm going to go see that film purely because of the director.
Is it Nolan North? Who is it? Not Nolan North. I'm sorry.
It's Taika Waititi.
Who?
Taika Waititi. I'm not kidding. That is
what's some of his work? I don't remember off the top of my head.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Mm.
The mockumentary about vampires living in New Zealand.
What was that? Oh, what was that movie called? I know what you're talking about. Oh, man, it came out like what 2014.
Yeah,
Something like
that movie. I'm talking about it.
I don't. Was it called?
It was
Vampires in New
called
Zealand.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh! I thought it was something else. But anyway.
No, and he also made a film this year called A Walk in the Wilderness with Sam Neill. It's really good. No, this guy's really funny on it. He did that video over the summer of Thor in like holiday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was all. That is Taika Waititi's brand of humor. If it's like action and that humor, Marvel are gonna have Marvel are gonna have their own Deadpool with this.
Ooh, I don't know if we can call it that.
I'm just saying.
Thor
Based
needs
on what we've seen and the pedigree of that writer and director, it could happen.
Yeah, Thor needs to flex his muscles.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Like, I definitely I'm so tired of this. Oh, I'm a superhero, but I'm bad just because I have got superpowers. It's like, no, like that's the one thing I want in the Spider-Man movie. I want to see Peter having a good time, like him just enjoying being Spider-Man, like just going crazy with it. Like, and that's the one thing I want to see him do, and that's what that kind of would bring back the fun aspect of Spider-Man, and I want to see that happen. But I mean, the Old Man Logan thing, I mean, that's what the comic was about, really. The comic, just as a general thing, the concept was Wolverine gets tricked by Mysterio, one of Spider-Man's villains, and he kills all the X-Men. And the supervillains all gang up and basically switch partners to be the more successful against their new opponents. And because I mean, like Mysterio is as a good example. Spider-Man could always beat Mysterio because he had spider sense, and it could see through illusions. But Wolverine only listens to his senses, and so Mysterio totally screws with his head and makes him kill all these people. And the result is like a total fallout of the United States. like different. Everything's divvied out. Like Red Skull's got Washington and the whole East Coast. Kingpin's got a certain spot, and like all these people, and like the Hulk has the entire West Coast because the Hulk you can't beat the Hulk, so you gotta give him a slice.
He's surfing.
And and so it's like over the years, Wolverine gets his own family, and he basically gets blackmailed, and there's this whole plot.
Is that his
it's
daughter?
a long thing.
And the thing is that his daughter, or is that just another mutant?
I think
with
it's
healing ability?
X-23, which is like his genetic clone.
But wasn't that? No, that was the girl the Asian girl that had all the Wolverine claws in the X-Men 2. That wasn't X-23, right?
No, that was Lady Deathstrike.
Lady Deathstrike, that's what it was.
Yeah, close, but not really. Basically, it was X-23 was a attempt at cloning Logan, and she has 2 claws instead. So she's basically his genetic copy, except she's female.
Now, why does he get old?
Over time, like it's a long time.
I thought he never ages.
No, he does. But it takes but very, very slowly.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, Old Man Logan takes place like what, almost not 100 years, but a good long while. Like after,
I've just thought of something. It's like ages in the future. Hugh Jackman is Australian. This is the superhero Mad Max. But like also not. I'm just having a laugh.
Like I'm not following this one.
Mad Max. Yeah, I don't know. It looks good. Like, yeah, it looks all right. It just looks very serious, and the fact that he's Logan, Professor X around.
Yeah. The role in the comic was supposed to be for Hawkeye, and they kind of say, well, they don't have the rights to Hawkeye, so they don't have the rights for anyone worthwhile in that movie.
Yeah.
Well, Jubilee. I couldn't say that without laughing. I remember I was writing the review for Apocalypse, and I was talking to somebody who really, really loves X-Men, and they kept asking me about Jubilee, and I just went, "Is she in the movie?" And then he went, "Yeah, she's in the movie. She's in all the trailers, the one in the yellow." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, what's her power?" And then he got so angry. He's like, "They don't show her power again. Come on!" So funny. Everything I said about that film made him more mad. It was great.
That was not a good movie.
No, it wasn't.
It was okay. It wasn't.
Oh,
what was
no,
it?
it wasn't.
That was horrible. That was bad.
I actually cannot think of a redeeming feature about that film. Not a single one.
Yeah.
That's
I would go as far to say it's the worst superhero film since the MCU started.
It was depressing because it had a good build up. Like, the whole thing that it was a good build up, and then they just kind of like it could have been a good battle, but it was just weird. Like it sucked. That last fight was horrible.
And it ended with Charles going to Jean and basically saying, "You can do this. All you have to do is believe."
Same crap. See, this is what I mean. That's what I mean. These things, like, you have the power. Like the whole time they're like talking to her, like, "You have the power." No, I don't. No, I don't. Yes, you do. And then at the end, she has I'm done. Please.
Yeah.
New superhero type movies. I hope Spider-Man's good.
All right, let's talk about a good superhero movie. Let's talk about Guardians.
Yeah, let's briefly talk about Guardians. They had that trailer.
That's all I need.
I'm excited because I want to see a new Guardians, but they really didn't show that much in this one.
You know what? It's exactly what I wanted from a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
It's just proving
pretty much showed nothing.
Yeah, which is great.
Who cares? Those guys just sit around a ship and talk. It's hilarious. Yeah. The characters are they feed off of each other like crazy. Like Batista. Batista's
oh my gosh. He might arguably be the best casted wrestler in a superhero movie.
Well, he's not wrestling, so he has a lot of time.
Well, I mean, that's where he got started. I mean, that's where people know him from. I mean,
now he's not in.
Worked really well.
Was he a wrestler?
Just worked.
Yeah. He was a long wrestler. Then he got hurt, And then he came back, and when he came back to WWE, everybody booed him. They called him Bootista because they just didn't like him because they said he just couldn't wrestle. And then eventually he got this Guardian of the Galaxy role, and he has not been back to WWE since.
Why would you?
Yeah, why would you? He has, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Batista went from WWE to MMA and then did Guardian of the Galaxy. It's pretty good move up the ladder for him.
And then Spectre.
Oh
Bond
yeah,
film.
he was in the James Bond movie.
Yeah.
I haven't watched a James Bond movie since Casino Royale.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah. I know they got weird after that. Like they just, Daniel Craig just kind
Quantum
of.
of Solace is like is a decent action movie, but a bad James Bond movie. Skyfall is overrated,
character
and
moments.
Spectre is really overrated.
Yeah, I didn't see Spectre.
Yeah, because the big thing about James Bond is about getting good character moments out of him. Like where it's mostly jealousy parts where you're like, damn it, I really wish I was James Bond.
But do you?
Well, sometimes you would.
But like he's a terrible spy.
But no, we're not saying you want to be a spy. You just want to be James Bond.
Okay, so you want to be a misogynist.
Right. You want to be well dressed. You want to have all the women.
He wants to give out Trump handshakes to the ladies.
So you want to be Christian Grey?
I was gonna say, no one on this podcast is gonna watch a James Bond movie until we get Idris Elba in it. We all know that. We can't go through a podcast without bringing him up. So
I don't know. I think what
I don't think he'd be a good James Bond. I think he's a really cool guy, but I don't think he'd be a good James Bond.
No. I think what they need to do is they need to get a farm of just children who are bred to be James Bond. They are bred specifically for the role. And they say, okay, you get like 2 or 3 of them, and they come up in waves. And so it's like, all right, you are the new James Bond. You have 20 years. You only play James Bond. That's it. You are genetically bred to be James Bond.
Can I just say, like, I would watch a film about people growing James Bonds, like, dead seriously.
Like
No. I'm like serious. So, like, because there's that old fan theory that James Bond is a code name.
Yeah, and so it's just
And
random
that
people
all of
taking
the films
name.
are interconnected.
Yeah, like I know that.
What if they actually did that? What if they actually grew or cultivated James Bonds? Anki, you stumbled on something. That's actually got some legs. I'm going to write that up.
do it, man. Hey, we'll take any idea I throw out there. All I gotta say is that Sony and whoever's in charge of making those James Bond movies, you got the idea from. All right. So moving on to one of our other topics for the night, we're talking about the Nintendo Switch for a bit.
Yay!
So the other thing they announced last week was the Nintendo Switch, aka the NX. We have all been waiting for, and I just wanted to briefly get the impressions from the group here about what you guys thought about it.
It's killed VR.
Oh, okay. We'll let you start. What are your thoughts? Like, if you had to confine it to like a minute of your impressions, what would it be?
Right. Before the NX, everyone was excited about VR, or at least interested in it. Now, all the casual people who are considering VR, absolutely no way they're gonna get the Switch. I was gonna get VR, and there's no way now. I'm gonna leave Sony and go get a Switch. I'll say I'm not gonna leave Sony. I'm gonna keep my PS4 because of course I am. But I just think there's no it's killed VR. I'm really serious about this.
Well, does it fit like more in your lifestyle than like a VR headset would? Because that's
absolutely. And if it's everyone's style better than a VR headset.
Yeah, VR is isolated experience, and this thing like you can play on the couch, you can move it around. Like it's definitely everybody's like always wanted a wish, and it's everything what everybody wanted in a handheld. Give me the console experience on the handheld, and that's what people wanted. Just on the go. Like don't give me this toned down version of like the DS game. Oh, it's not having all the characters. It only has so many than the main console game. People just want the same one. So this is what it does. The lifelong kind of like thing. However, my impression of it is that I think because of that, they made compromises with using such a Tegra processor that is the analog. It's an analog to once in a tablet. It's a mobile processor, and because of that, they banked in all in on mobile. So I wouldn't really consider this as a console that's comparable. It's more of a tablet that hooks up to your TV, and that's where my impression is of it. I don't think Nintendo did what they needed to do to differentiate this stuff from what they did at the Wii U generation to the Switch.
But you would say it's hardware.
Yeah, it's hardware limitations. They had a compromise for like battery life. It's a mobile processor, and my problem is that say Madden 17 comes out next year, if EA is supporting the Switch, you think that Ignite engine that's running on PlayStation 4 and on Xbox One is going to be on the Switch? It might not have that engine. And the thing is that all those consoles are going to the next kind of more teraflops, more power, and they complained how the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 didn't have enough power. This is lower than that. This is kind of in between the three. Actually, it's a little bit more than the Wii U. And maybe the Wii U. So this processor is not going to give you third-party equivalent games across the board. And I thought in order for them to be successful and differentiate themselves from the Wii U, they at least had to have bare minimum as equal power as the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 vanilla versions. And they're not. So it's just going to be good for Nintendo games.
But would you have great power or great gameplay?
Well, Nintendo games are great gameplay, but the thing is how does this make this any different than the Wii U? The Wii U had great games, right? But they also third party. This is going to be the same taste.
It doesn't have a Zelda.
I want to get Nick's ideas on this real quick. I want to get him in there before I start jumping in here.
Well, first of all, the what absolutely destroyed my mind was the trailer. Just it was so bad that I couldn't even get my head around it. Like the fact that they think people are going to take this thing out and you're going to be playing basketball with your friends and then you're all going to huddle around this 6-inch tablet screen with these two dainty controllers and like hug in all together, and that you're going to play NBA 2K17 or whatever with all your friends with these little dinky controllers is just
on a 6-inch screen.
On a 6-inch screen. Like I have a hard enough playing 2K on a 32-inch screen, nonetheless make a 6-inch screen. Okay, but like Nintendo,
yeah, but that game is hard as balls, so you know.
Yeah, but the thing is like people have been saying for eons, we want a Nintendo console where you plug in the controller, you play the game. We want essentially a GameCube again.
Exactly.
But Nintendo cannot lose the gimmicks. It always have to be like, we're going to give you this tablet thing. No, a controller. Oh, there's the Pro controller, but we're not going to talk about that. No, I want the Pro controller as the regular controller. I want you to lose the gimmicky little handheld Wiimotes that nobody wants. Okay? Yep. And the people that are getting behind Nintendo are being like, oh, this is the best idea in the world. It's like, yeah, it's going to be the best idea in the world until you buy it. You have Mario Switch or whatever they're going to call the newest Mario game. And then you have to wait 9 months for the next game because no third-party developer is going to support this.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to be very surprised to see if what the Wii U version of Zelda looks like compared to the Wii U version, compared to the Switch version of Zelda. Like, are they going to be the same? Like, are they going to be the same thing? Because the Wii U is a dedicated console that's plugged into, that has a GPU that's built for being tethered to a wall with electricity. This is not. This is a tablet battery. So this is kind of, it's not going to give you the same kind of, like, it's going to have to be optimized for it. But again, it's nothing different. This is less innovative than what the Wii U was. This is just the tablet that we plug into a TV. That's it. There's no extra power in the thing from what they were saying, like from what people have been reporting. There's no extra power in that display dock. It's just a mirror dock.
Now, here's the thing. I'm looking at it as I think Nintendo is shooting as a solid place as the companion console.
Yeah.
And they're even trying to make that play to be a primary console with that third-party support. I'm just really worried about it. I'm really worried about third-party support for them because, I mean, they have a bunch of guys who have said, yes, we're going to support it, yes, we're going to support it, but I want to see what they're doing. And the one thing that's made me question that now is Bethesda. where they showed off Skyrim Remastered on there, and I'm like, oh wow, that's great, and like that sold me on it. And now they say, well, we're not confirming that it's coming out just yet. And it's like, dude, why don't you just confirm it then? I mean, it's not a big deal. Like, like you're showing it, but you're not going to confirm it's going to run on there. And like
Maybe
that makes me think maybe this isn't everything. Because I mean, like, okay, when I went to E3, just as a scenario, I was really regretting not having a handheld. I was really regretting it because I was like, oh man, I really want to play something right now. It's a long flight. I'm sitting here doing nothing, and the Switch would have been perfect. Like I wouldn't have had to leave my console at home,
If
and I
the
would have had
battery
to
life
play it on the plane or something.
was more than 3 hours, like if it's 5, 7 hours,
We don't know. We don't
I
know how
know.
long the battery is gonna last. I don't know what the situation is just yet. But worst case scenario, I can plug it in and it has a charge with the dock. I can wait a little bit and I can play it. I mean, it's an option. It's options there, and it's one of those things where they're trying to appeal to people that have a multiple different needs, and it's one console that can serve all those different needs. It may not be the best at any one of those things, but it can do all those things. And I want to see what they're going to do with the third party support. But I mean, if you have an Xbox or you have a PlayStation or even a PC right now, based on what we've seen from the Switch, I mean, the Switch is doing something those other consoles aren't. It's mobile. It has that option, and they're going to have those Nintendo exclusives as well as some third party support. So I mean, it's poised to be a great companion console, and I want to see what they're going to do.
just a very quick thing. I just want to say, I love that every time Nintendo release a console, it's different. I love that. I love that they try. Carry on.
Great.
My biggest thing with Nintendo, I wish they'd stop getting creative with the console and get creative with their games.
Yep.
There's so many games that they could bring back, like Mario RPG,
Metroid.
like, please, Metroid. Like, why do I have to have a version of Mario that's the same game reskinned at every console launch? Why can't I have Ice Climbers? Why can't I have Kirby? Why can't I have
They have lots of Kirby.
What about 3D
Kirby's been holding down that fort for years.
3D open world Kirby?
my biggest thing is like
First TV Robo, damn it.
if they want something the Switch could do incredibly well, and it'll be interesting to see if Nintendo goes with it, is if they take a Pokemon game and put it on the Switch and then have aspects that work with the mobility of the actual console. We saw how popular Pokemon Go is. You take a Pokemon game, you put it on the Switch, and then you add something to do with I don't know how you would make it work, but you make the game different if you take the tablet.
Gym.
Okay, and you do something inventive with the Pokemon series. Literally, you would not be able to keep these things on the shelf because I know every kid that grew up in the 90s, like myself, would be like, Pokemon, Pokemon, Pokemon.
But yeah, but if they put a GPS in it, like if it is a tablet or a phone, like you could put a GPS in it, and then you have games that when you take them away from your console, or from your TV, you could go use GPS kind of like location tags or something like that, and then come back home, and now you can hook it up to your TV. It's they could definitely make gameplay around it. It's just
yeah,
it's just that it's nothing that's real. The problem is that if people want, like, I'm just saying, everybody's talking high fidelity graphics, HDR, 4K TVs, and all this other stuff. It's like, if that screen is 720p, how's that going to look on your TV? Is that going to and if the game is made for that little device and it's just replicating up to the TV, is it really going to give me that console experience, or is it going to feel like that I'm just mirroring my phone on a TV or a tablet on a TV? And it's going to depend on the interface, their internet, all this stuff. But again, everything that works on that console that's mirrored to your TV is compromised for battery. That's the thing. Like, you're not, unless it changes the interface somehow. What I'm just saying is that in order to make it mobile, they had to do compromises. Just normal, like, out of it. And if there's power in the dock, then this changes the whole story. But if there's no kind of any like boost from the dock, it's still a mobile device, and it's like a DS on your TV. And if that's not a touchscreen, that's another thing. You're going to lose a lot of interactivity if that's not a touchscreen, which they might not do to save battery life. That's
Mhm.
where my concerns are. Because I have tons of tablets. I hook up my TV. I have an NVIDIA Shield tablet and an NVIDIA Shield, which is similar to the processors that are in this thing. And they said that, it could play HD 720p 1080 60 frames per second games that are on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, but it's not doing those other games. So
Yeah.
I don't
All
know.
right. Doing our as briefly want to do a final topic as we wrap up the show tonight. First, I want to say thank you for everyone showing up today. The chat has been lit. It has been lit. But I want to just say
Remaster
one
Sunshine.
last thing. So we saw these comments from Mark Cerny on the PlayStation 4 Pro, and we're not going to get into the details of why of what everything is. The short of it though is the claim is now the PlayStation 4 Pro, which has been confirmed to be 4.2? Yeah, 4.2 teraflops is now 8.4 teraflops. Just stop. This sounds like desperation. This is not really an asking the panel scenario. I just want to address the crowd here. I'm just so tired of hearing this stuff. This whole secret sauce talk is annoying. When Xbox did it, it was extremely annoying.
Yes,
I'm
Graham.
so tired of everyone looking for something that's not there, or for trying to justify not having as much power. I don't care. As long as the games are good, it doesn't matter. As long as the games take advantage of the power that's there to make great experiences, it doesn't matter. And going around trying to make claims like, it's going to have the secret sauce, or the cloud's going to completely revolutionize everything and bring everything up to 4K 60 FPS on the original Xbox, just stop. It's annoying. I'm really sick of it. And I'm glad other people are finally realizing that this is not just one side anymore. I said this before and everyone made fun of it, and I was saying that after the Pro announcement, everyone's flip-flopped. The Xbox guys were like, "Oh, stop damage controlling," and the PlayStation guys were like, "No, wait, we got the power," or "Power doesn't matter anymore. It's all about the games." And everyone totally changed their tune. And I'm glad other people are starting to see it now, and I'm just sick of it.
Actually, can I just mention something quickly?
Sure.
Okay, so
No.
Well, fine then, James.
Carry on, please.
All right. So it just absolutely floors me because I follow a good majority of the Xbox and PlayStation community, and they quite often clog up my feed with this PS4 versus Xbox Scorpio pizzazz, we're going to call it. But what absolutely blows me away is there's been a 3-week period right now where some of the biggest AAA games have been dropping, and none of these people have ever even talked about it or anything else. And I got some of these people on Xbox, and some of my friends have these people on PSN. These guys aren't playing games. Who cares if your game's in 4K 60 FPS if you don't play them? It's not even supposed to, who cares if it does 4K 60 FPS? Who cares if it does 4K 30 FPS? At the end of the day, you should be happy as a consumer that you can play games in a solid foundation on a decent console. PS4 and Xbox One are both great consoles, and if either of these consoles comes out half as powerful as they say they're going to be awesome additions. That's it. Let's stop talking about the console and talk about the games that go into it. The console is the pathway to play the game. When you go to an amazing, if you go to an amazing park, do you sit there and do you talk about the walkway you're walking on, or do you talk about the actual things in the park? I think everyone's missing the great picture with this. And what developers are trying to give us.
Right. It hasn't been about the games. It's all been this tech crap. And the biggest problem, too, is that both Microsoft and Sony are on a huge problem in that the extra power in both of these consoles, they still have to be another compromise. Like you talk about Nintendo compromising, they still got to make sure that they support the previous version of them, the vanilla version. So even if all this power is in there, they're going to use this power for just better textures, resolution, maybe more stable frame rates. They're not going to develop a game that's going to be 10 teraflops of power. We have shit blown up all over. Stuff blown all over the place. All this stuff, and and then like, oh, but the explosions are not that more like, we took away those explosions for the Xbox version because we're using the 10 teraflops of these. These game developers are gonna have they're gonna have a hard sell with this, and I think eventually it's just gonna be they'll cut off the vanilla versions and just go with the more power ones. But it has to be about the games and not about the textures and the resolution, because that, like you said, it's on a case by case basis. It doesn't matter if your game is running at 60 frames at 4K. Guess who's sharing that with you? Who? Your family. That's it. It doesn't matter. That's an individual benefit that you have based on your display. So it really doesn't matter what you're playing it as, and it's really how they use this power. And what I want to know is how the Scorpio, like Sony has answered it somewhat, but how the Scorpio is going to benefit people that don't have those 4K displays and stuff like that. Like, is that going to show up like it's super sampling or something like that on a 1080p? But Cerny, from hearing his speech that he had during that boring conference that Sony didn't know what to do with themselves, he's just a tech guy. Let him talk. He's almost like Peter Molyneux, like in his voice, and just make you go to sleep. He could talk about all the teraflops and all that stuff. But the thing is that these developers are going to have to show differences in the games that cannot be that are going to have to support the power of this thing, but they still have to be held back by the vanilla versions. So it's going to be real challenging on both of their parts to sell this thing, just the more power aspect.
Video games are really fun.
Yeah.
They were fun. Like this tech stuff is driving me crazy.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to clarify. I know a lot of fanboys don't tune into this podcast because, there's logic in this podcast. But I cannot stress this enough. Teraflops is not an actual spec. It's a measurement of speed.
Exactly.
Not an actual spec. Like, if you ask any of these guys, they're like, oh, it's 8.4 teraflops. And you go, hey, man, what's a teraflop? They're like,
It's a calculation of speed. It's like a processing power. It's like I got 2.3 megahertz versus 2.8 megahertz. It's a speed. I think it's a speed of communication, something like that.
I think the companies just went, we have all these fanboys that follow our consoles. What's a word we can get them to latch on to?
It's not games.
It's not games.
It's not games.
It's not games.
Like, I'm not even going to lie. The first time I saw it in my Twitter feed, they're like, oh, it's got this many teraflops. I had to sit there. I was like, what? That sounds ridiculous. What is a teraflop?
They're not making up words like Battlefield did a few years ago with Levolution.
How about gigawatt?
Evolution.
It has 16 billion gigawatts of power.
Gigawatts.
Microsoft I know that Sony did it with the PlayStation 4, with the fanboys are doing on NeoGAF and stuff, but Microsoft did kind of feed into that with their Project Scorpio video.
They
did. Really, they kind of started this the guy's like, it's a monster, 6 teraflops. Like, it's just Microsoft kind of like started this whole like.
They did.
They did with that video. So I don't know, but it's
let's have a go at Microsoft for like knowing stuff.
Yeah, well, they had to oversell the Scorpio and the power of it in the native 4K and the VR. They have to do that because they got to make a distinction from it, and they did, and they're doing two different things. Sony is going more for making their VR more stable and adding a little bit of boost to their system, like double power. But Microsoft's like, we're just going to next generation. We're just going 4K. Let's do this and make a big step. And Microsoft's vision definitely in the long run, I think, is going to be the better one, where Sony's going to be throwing out maybe another console. I was thinking, what about if Sony releases a Pro Plus next year that has the HD, has the Blu-ray player in it?
Happening.
That has the Blu-ray player in it.
That'd be insane.
Maybe next
No, hold up. Sony, if you're listening to this, if you don't call it the PlayStation 4 Super Pro, I will forever be disappointed in you.
Megazord. Super Pro.
No. PS4 Pro Turbo.
Turbo.
Yes. Oh my God, we're just gonna give it the Street Fighter cheat.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
No, PS4 Pro Turbo and Knuckles.
But it totally makes sense.
The Pro Ultra Edition.
You'll do it, but they don't have a Blu-ray player. The Ultra HD Blu-ray. They release it next year to compete against Scorpio with the HD Blu-ray, and they call it the PlayStation Pro Plus. They're a hardware company. They got to have their hardware as comparable as the competitor. So they blew it on this one, the Pro. I'm sorry, I'm calling it the Plus. The Pro. I can see him come out next year with another console. with a Blu-ray player in it, with the Ultra HD Blu-ray player called the Pro Plus.
All right, guys,
No.
we got to wrap up the show today. It's been great. I want to thank everyone out
You know
here.
what? Before we wrap it up, I'm hijacking. Right. If you're not watching Black Mirror on Netflix, you got to go and watch Black Mirror. This is the best show of the year, arguably of the decade. If you're vaguely interested in technology, basic sci-fi, you have to go see Black Mirror. It's set right now or in a very near future in both here, the UK and the US. Right, I'm good.
Okay.
By the way, I finished that series. By the way, I watched it this weekend.
Isn't it the best?
It's pretty good. This last season is really good. I think the third episode was probably my favorite.
Shut up and dance.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that
man.
one kept me guessing long enough. So
Yeah, man.
What about that one on Netflix where the people come back from the dead and they're like, I saved it in my queue. I didn't see it yet. It's called like the
He Never Died?
No, it's this one where the 6 people come back from the dead. It's a mini series. It's a
it's
Netflix
like
original
Sense8
series.
or something like that.
No, I gotta find it. It's they come back, but they're like unscathed or something like that, and people like
It's not Black Mirror. Shut up. We're talking about Black Mirror.
No, it's not Black Mirror, but it's sci-fi or something.
Comment section glitch. That's what it's called.
Glitch. That's what it is. I wanted to see that one, so I don't know. It looked pretty interesting. It has not zombies though. It's not zombies.
Yeah,
Apparently.
and I gotta watch.
It's not
Westworld.
good. Wolfsella says not good. All right, thanks. You saved me like 5 hours.
Can I say, I was like ranting and raving about Westworld, and having watched 3 episodes of it, I've completely changed my mind. It's not that good.
Oh
wow! And just when I said I was gonna watch it, great.
It was a great. The first episode of it is great, and it puts forward so many ideas that then go nowhere.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. Their cards too fast with that one. Like they showed like it looked like they showed like the back end part of it in the beginning, like what it was, rather than sell you on the Western theme and then kind of trickle in that other stuff.
Maybe I'll keep watching it, but it let me down. It's not Black Mirror.
I gotta watch.
By the way, go watch Black Mirror. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good show. If you like Twilight Zone, but with more of the sci-fi Twilight Zones.
Yeah, it's less ridiculous than Twilight Zone. It's way more realistic than Twilight Zone.
The concept of our modern life and then amplifies it by 10 and takes it to a semi-natural conclusion. We'll talk about it later, maybe off camera. But I want to thank everybody for being on the show real quick. Just doing quick outros out the way. I want to thank Undead for showing up.
Thanks for having me on the show. Always a pleasure.
I want to thank James.
My absolute pleasure again. And in 5 hours' time, I would have seen Doctor Strange.
I know, you dirty British bastard.
So he's not allowed to be on the podcast next week, right? Because I don't want spoilers.
We're not talking about spoilers, man. If you bring up spoilers, James, you're dead. Dead to me.
I promise I won't.
I want to thank our other guests for the night, our semi-regular alternate co-host of sorts, Jez.
Thanks a lot. I'm glad to be here. Always a pleasure talking to you guys. Follow me on Jez7780 on Twitter.
All right. And this has been Anchorman here with the Multiverse Podcast, the greatest show on Mondays. We'll see you guys later.
Watch Black Mirror.